Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I kindly ask you to please take your seats as we are ready to start day 2 of the United Nations Public Service Forum 2017. Due to the tight time schedule, I would ask you to take your seats so we could proceed with day 2. Because it's already day 2, ladies and gentlemen, and we all look forward to work together to inform and to inspire public service innovations. We are already halfway to create knowledge, a knowledge platform for informing public service innovations. And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, the forum is also committed to make the Sustainable Development Goals a reality and offering as many practical solutions as possible. And that will be also for today's program. And let's have a closer look at today's program. We have a short plenary program because of the reflection sessions that will start almost immediately afterwards. We have lunch together with an innovation fair, and afterwards the plenary program will have subsequently the beautiful youth declaration, of course the chair summary, the ministerial conversation with the title "How do we accelerate innovations in public service?" with questions and answers and a big role for the audience as well. Of course the closing, and we will finish with the United Nations Public Awards Ceremony 2017 before we have the closing cocktail of the forum. We have one Buzzmaster question, ladies and gentlemen, so I would kindly ask you to get connected again with the Buzzmaster system. And we also have Marike. Good morning, Marike. Give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. I saw already that a lot of people were connected. What's the question of this morning?
Well, we actually wanted to know what you thought of day 1. And
yes.
To give a summary in one word. And a lot of people have done that, some in 2 words. So we can try to make a word cloud if you like.
Yes. Well, we have, let's wait for 10 seconds more until we have a couple of people more. We have inspiring, refreshing, meaningful, full of visions.
Sunny.
Quite positive, actually. Pragmatism, says Alejandro Becker. Educative, fun and function, accelerating, inspiring. I would be curious to know, actually, the word cloud. Could we...
Let's do that.
Could we try to make, and you know, the bigger the word, the more people have the same word. So I would guess interesting, but inspiring is the word to describe day 1. And we also hope that that will be, of course, for day 2 the case, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen and dear guests, today we come together from all over the world for the UN Public Service Day. And we intend to celebrate the value and the virtue of public service to the community, to highlight the contribution of public service in the development process, to recognize the work of public servants and encourage young people to pursue their careers in the public sector. And Secretary General Ban Ki-moon once said, all countries and all people need a public service that is competent, equipped and well-resourced. Public service needs to be diverse and ethical. It needs to be dedicated to effectively serving people and improving the lives of the poorest and the most vulnerable. That is why we present you the following special guests to tell us more about their innovative collaboration and public service by means of an urban data center here in the Netherlands. Let me first introduce to you Director General Chark Chinna Choi of the Central Bureau of the Statistics in the Netherlands, also known as Statistics Netherlands, or just abbreviated CBS. Since joining Statistics Netherlands as its chief executive in April 2014, he has led a broad program of innovations that include a modern news organization to disseminate statistics more effectively, a center for big data statistics, and, of course, where we're going to talk about very briefly, the urban data centers. And our other guest is Marijn Franje, and he is the Chief Information Officer at the beautiful city of The Hague. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's invite them on stage, both guests. There they come. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. So welcome here. Well, welcome in your own city is maybe a little bit peculiar, but nevertheless. May I start with you, Chok China Choi. Let's briefly explain what exactly is an urban data center.
Well, many cities around the world are at present struggling with creating a smart city concepts, using data to improve governance. And we are now offering our national data infrastructure to these cities in order to improve that development and make it faster, make it better, and actually get it on the road, because data is very complicated stuff.
Yes, and what is actually the added value of such a data center for society?
Well, it improves governance. You cannot have policy making, a good policy making. Policy making without data is like driving without looking around. You have to have data. You have to know what's going on in your society, in your surroundings. So what we try to do is give the cities the data, the information, the statistics they need to do good governance.
All right, and so let's ask Marijn, because you represent actually the city of The Hague. Could you please explain the increasing importance of data in maybe policy making and in deployment at the municipality of the city of The Hague?
We are using data analytics in 3 different ways. The first one is transparency.
Okay.
So we use it as a way to be accountable to the citizens and the city council on the things that we are spending money on.
All right.
And on the way that we're implementing policies. The second one is to get a clear understanding of the social challenges that the municipality is facing, the best way to tackle them and to solve them. And the third one that we try to do is to really use the data to predict what is going to happen and develop more preemptive policies instead of responding when something already occurred.
So actually you could say that you really internally use the
Yes.
data for better policy making.
Yes.
That's great.
And as well to really show to citizens as well what we're doing as a municipality to solve their problems.
So both internal and external
external
use.
as well. Yeah.
Okay. Have there been any technological or administrative changes that have triggered more collaboration actually between the CBS and city governments?
Yes. National statistics authorities used to operate like this. You want to know something, then you make a questionnaire and you do a survey in the country, for example, 10,000 people or 100,000 people. You get the information back and you process it and you make a statistic.
Yes.
But
is that wrong?
That's not wrong, but
Oh.
it's labor intensive. But the more important thing is that if you then look at every single city in the Netherlands, it's
Yes.
just a very small fraction of the people that are involved. You cannot make statistics for the city then.
All right.
The thing that has changed is now statistic authorities, especially in the Netherlands, we get all the government data. So, for example, all the tax data and all the other data that is very fine-grained. We know everything about tax of individual people in the country. This means that we can specialize then this information to specific areas, specific cities, even areas within the city in a sense.
All right.
And this then makes our infrastructure far more interesting for cities and regions.
With the urban data center, actually, I could imagine that the CBS fulfills its ambition of really targeted use of data. How does it actually match with your ambition of the city of The Hague?
In a way, we have the same ambition. One responsibility of each municipality is to be responsible with the handling of data from citizens. And the good thing about the partnership with the CBS is they have a very long, decade-long tradition about handling private data on a very responsible way. So in that we can learn as a municipality from the CBS. The second one is, of course, they have a lot of microdata that we as a city are not having at this moment.
And you want to have.
And we want to have to
Yes.
get a better understanding of really the issues that are going on in the city. to compare it with other cities as well.
Yes.
And to really get the most effective policies to tackle them.
Chark, again, how could you, to make it maybe a little bit more practical, how is the cooperation with the Urban Data Center specifically designed? How does it work in practice?
Well, actually, it's a broad program of projects that are specific projects about things, information that the city wants to have and that we can reconstruct from our data sets. We work with the city to find out which are the topics that they want to address. Of course, as you can see in the programs that we are running at the moment in several cities, the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, are of course very, very interesting for cities as well. And therefore, they want to have some indicators there and do some work there because they're all struggling with this.
Yes.
On a national level, but also on a city level. Once we have the program fixed, we then make sure that we find the people and put them together. And usually, there's a physical presence in the city as well. So our people work with their people then to actually make those information products.
Okay, Marijn, could you briefly tell us what kind of questions or what kind of projects the City of The Hague wants to launch actually within the Urban Data Center?
We have a wide variety of topics, for example, security, economic development, social issues, sustainability. But primarily we're starting with children on risk of poverty as the first thing we want to investigate.
Okay.
The City of The Hague has a lot of programs to try to prevent poverty. And we really want to investigate this particular group to see, okay, what are the circumstances of children on risk of poverty.
To really know what policy...
What is happening. No,
yes.
We already have policies, but we really know what is happening with those children, so what are the circumstances. Secondly, to really assess, okay, the programs that we're having in place, are they working? So is it reaching the children that it's meant for?
That's our group, yes.
And thirdly, is it really working the way we want to work? So is it preventing children from getting into poverty?
And you already have some first results?
No, the first results are going to be presented at the formal opening of the Urban Data Center this September.
Okay, so then you would know.
Then we're going to
great.
really show the first results in combination with the launching.
Okay, thank you so much. Final question also for Chuck. Well, we are addressing actually an international audience here at the United Nations. Is this concept specific to the Netherlands?
No, absolutely not. Since we started last year with this Urban Data Center initiative, we have seen lots and lots of interest from abroad. And many countries have already asked us for some information about how this works, because everybody is struggling with the same things. Cities that want to become smart cities but don't have the infrastructure, don't have the capabilities, and even the people to do it in a highly developed way. So, and we already have a highly developed data infrastructure in almost all of our countries. So the only thing that we've done is just combine those two things.
Okay, thank you so much. Good luck with the Urban Data Center and also good luck with the results on behalf of the City of The Hague. Thank you, Marijn, and thank you, Chuck. Thank you, both gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of the best practices and one out of many, because you will have also reflection tables later on. But let's have a closer look maybe in retrospective of day one. Let's switch to the Buzzmaster again, Marieke. Because we have a second question for the dear audience, have we?
Yes, well, we would like to know what you have learned at your day program yesterday. And again, it's a free text and you have more space than you had with the last question. So we would
So this actually really in retrospective about yesterday, what's your takeaway in maybe the tracks, but the plenary sessions,
Indeed.
the entire day?
Yes.
Okay.
What
so,
you would like to share with us, what you have learned, especially what you have learned.
Yes.
So here Lohman says documentation of material.
Yes.
Inclusiveness is Samer.
Imad Malhas, second column at the top. Mm-hmm. Public sector is the driver of change for better or for worse. That's honest. That's a good takeaway. And Rudy, no, go ahead, yes.
Technology potential for innovations is Karma. Where there was one you mentioned?
Yeah, Rudy, under Imad, about young people.
Ah, yeah. has
Yes.
great, fresh and bold ideas.
And bold ideas engaged. Well, and we have the youth declaration today, ladies and gentlemen, at 1:45 here in the plenary session at day 2. The youth declaration, and they will actually be protagonists themselves, so please be here. Anne Duin van den Hurk, third column about best practices in the green. That's an honest remark as well. In the third one.
From the left.
Above at the top. She's almost disappearing right now. Third one at the top. Anne Duin van den Hurk.
Anne Duin, there she is.
There she is. Honest remark, best practices. Even if you think you're there yet,
you can do
one step further. That's ambitious. That's ambitious. Okay, maybe 2 more. And then we will proceed about the learnings of yesterday. You just pick, yes? Crossing borders, that's a great one. And finally...
Exchange is the key.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much for all your remarks. And I remember that all the content of the Busmaster will be, of course, not just stored, because we will use them, of course, for the reports of the 2-day program. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what you remember of day 1, and that is very important. But let me refresh your memory a little bit more, because we made a compilation of the first day, and it is a compilation in a video. So let's have a closer look at what we did together at the first day of this great forum.
Well, when we look at jobs for the future in the next year, in the next 10 years, I think we have a lot of uncertainty. The challenge will be, how do we create decent and productive jobs and create livelihoods throughout the world? And throughout the world, the path is going to be very different. There are a lot of challenges, but with innovation, technology, and increases in the way the world is shifting, there are great opportunities. But how we work together to address these problems is critical. It's not just up to governance, it's also up to us as members of our society, citizens, to engage actively.
It is the first time I attend this kind of forum or conference. It's really impressed me a lot to see that how all the participants understand all the big challenges facing by the countries.
Based on today's discussions, everyone was emphasizing the importance of inclusiveness. Government must include everyone in the decision-making process whenever it comes to the development of employment policies and employment policy implementation. It's very much important to involve the different stakeholders in the process in order to make sure that implementation will be done smoothly. Also, it's very much important to encourage people in rural areas to work to find decent jobs in their own rural areas in order to reduce the level of migration to the cities. Governments can provide incentives for those people to stay in their own areas and to have decent jobs. Also, it was emphasized the importance of women participation in the labor market by promoting gender equality policies and providing financial incentives, credit facilities for women to participate effectively in the labor market.
ensuring healthy life and well-being of everyone is the reiteration of the WHO definition of health, which says that health is not confined only to absence of physiological disease, but it's a state of physical, social, and mental well-being. And if having said that, I would like people to think of the SDG 3 as in the center of all SDGs.
We keep saying people that they have to live better, to have healthy lifestyles, but we don't give them the ways to do that. We want them to make exercises, but they don't have parks, and we want them to feed healthier, but we don't give enough information in food labeling. So I think tools, it's very important, empowering people of the importance of them taking action in their own health, and of course education. We need to change the new generations. If we want to guarantee the right to health, we need to think of new ways of doing things, of do them better, of learning from our mistakes, because that's the only way to improve.
Interesting insight is that some projects that were done, for example Armenia and Mongolia, which seemed huge, basically were done in a small amount of time, with a lot of focus by the teams who did it. And it's on all kinds of topics that you thought, this is too difficult to achieve, but they did it. So the example is very inspiring. People, if they put their minds and efforts to it, they can get things done.
To drive excellence in health delivery, governments should first invest in education. Education of health professionals on the one hand, because these are the main responsible for healthcare provision. But they should also train and educate the population, living better lives, eating better, sleeping more, doing more exercise, because health is integral, it's not only a technical fix.
The challenge for governments and the broad sense, both local governments, national governments, is to make sure that communities, local communities, become efficient energy communities, and that the public policies across the different levels of decision and across the different energy-related sectors are consistent.
Statistics are so important for policy making because they tell you what's going on in the world. We changed our organization in order to bring our statistics to society better in a more communicative way. And second of all, we made our statistics less aggregated so that they speak more to the average people.
I think as far as we talk challenges, I think the things that we really need to look at is one, manufacturing locally, which is not yet happening. Two, the cost of financing is still very, very high. And three, issues relating to land. If we can handle some of these issues, I think solar is a great industry going forward.
Data and statistics are important for decision making at local level is because of the fact that it gives better understanding of this actual situation in a city. Number two, it gives an actual data-driven input for local decision making. And number three, smarter use of data enables the city to save substantial budgets in their city expenditure.
What Europe really needs to do to accelerate is getting guidance for the investors. The investors are there, the money is there, but they don't know where Europe is going. And there are too many directions to be taken by different member states. What is now absolutely needed is clarity and investment security so that they know this is the way Europe is going.
We are here in the Biesbos, and the Biesbos is a delta area in the Netherlands, where nature, water management and history come together. And this is what we are able to show the people of the conference in practice.
most inspiring thing I would have seen today is your program that refers to rooms for rivers. It's interesting that you've now allowed water to come in to your advantage in order to ensure sustainability across the line.
Now it's changed into wetland, and we now have breeding birds that would never happened without the planning from Noordwaard Room for the River.
I was extremely impressed with the public governance.
And to connect national government with local government, with the people that live here.
A difficult process, but also a process that I'm proud of it.
And time is taken to understand people's issues and the relationships between communities so that the solution is holistic and not piecemeal.
I hope that people will take home some inspiration.
I definitely, from this conference, I am going to encourage a lot more bottom-up solution approach, localizing issues, involving those who are going to be impacted, and relying also on non-governmental actors to assist in identifying solutions.
I compared these challenges with our challenges, and then the challenges so far we are facing in Bangladesh, particularly for the coastal development of the people. So if we do like them, we can contribute in our development also.
From what I saw today, I think the most important aspect is individual leadership. In contrast to being the authority, we need public officials to be leaders, which means enabling other people to solve the problems that only they can solve.
What it does give me, having been here, is inspiration to continue with the work that I'm doing. So I look at all the people that are engaged in really, really difficult challenges on their own, a lot of them exercising leadership, and to come here and see that there are other people engaging in that kind of work gives me inspiration, and it gives me the strength to carry on when I go home.
When I go back home, I will definitely talk to my colleagues in the youth organizations that I'm participating, and I will also knock on some doors in the institutions so that I can transfer good examples and have a dialogue with the decision makers.
I think the most important aspect is actually cultural change. It's not only about the technical challenges, expertise, etc., etc. It's also that we need to dare to innovate and that we need to dare to fail if it happens. Failure is an option after all, but without failure there's no innovation at all.
I was very impressed by Mr. Etienne from Congo, who showed us that being innovative could also be a matter of life and death.
My key message is that we're really depending on them for innovation, and we understand that sometimes in government it's hard to make that happen, but they have allies outside in civil society and foundations in business, and they should reach out to us for help.
Open up for young people because we can contribute and participate meaningfully in the decision-making processes at all levels.
Be brave and exercise leadership, and don't wait for somebody else to do it. There is no cavalry coming. This is a job for you. This is your time. Take up the baton and run with it as far and as fast as you can make it in your time, because it's very short.
When you commit to leaving no one behind, you have to start by understanding who the most vulnerable people are. So you have to take a dual approach, one of efficiency and effectiveness, but also one of reaching out to those furthest behind and building their resilience.
If you leave anyone behind, ultimately it will come to haunt you, because those marginalized people will come up, particularly in democracies. They will organize themselves, they will articulate, and it'll be too late for you to include them. The minute you include somebody in the mainstream in some manner who's been left out, he or she begins to produce economic value. They become productive, they gain dignity, they begin to be part of the mainstream.
focusing on the poorest and the most marginalised isn't only a social obligation. There's also a real economic, micro and macroeconomic benefit from focusing and improving outcomes among these populations. It's not just the individuals. You think about whole families as an intergenerational issue that by dealing with the issues around poverty and marginalisation today, you're also making productive citizens for the future.
On this track of all the day, we have collected 3 questions. The first one is how to understand who, where and why are people vulnerable, how to break up this vicious cycle of social problems, and lastly, what are the formulas to bridge all the stakeholders together.
So the recommendations we have for that fall into 4 buckets. The first is to be very inclusive in the design of policy and to make sure that beneficiaries are part of the process of policy design. The second is to make sure that policy is directed at empowering individuals, so empowering the most marginalized communities. The third is to make sure that we tap into new technologies and the opportunities that brings, but the fourth, and maybe that's more important, is that to make this type of policy sustainable, we want to make sure not only to tap into the technological tools, but especially the culture of innovation.
The 3 challenges in promoting resilience, inclusive, safe and sustainable city are inequality among service delivery, among citizens, urban planning that is not up to the challenges of today urbanization. And the last one is about inadequate financing. We need proper allocation of resources to provide basic services to all citizens so that they can have better living conditions in city.
Paradigm shift. That's one of the key words that came out from this from today's session. Like from the point of view of the public administration, from a point of view of public servants, it's important to look at citizens, the community, as part of the solution. They know the problems. We will need to engage them in order to come up with solutions. This is part of like the citizen-centric approach. They are our customers, so this is citizen-centrism. Second, ICT as an enabler to help us to enable improvement in public service delivery. We've heard about the role of social media to like inform actions by local government, by government agencies, the role of big data and analytics to improve transportation routes. And while ICT may not be the silver bullet, it can help us to enable improvements in public service delivery.
I think it should lead to cities that are harmonious at 3 levels. Firstly, the city should be in harmony with nature and in harmony with other cities. Connectedness is going to be critical there. Second, it should promote harmony among its residents. It should promote ownership. Communities should be strong. They should feel safe. The levels of trust should be high. And thirdly, the city should promote harmony within the person through reduction in stress because commutes are not as long, or by creating spaces where the aesthetics are so good that people enjoy being alive and just being.
I hope that people will remember from today that everything is about attitude. It's not about certification, it's not about rules, it's about the attitude towards everything what makes our life possible.
The future of the public sector concerning the circular economy looks very good and bright. Actually, the discussion here has been very useful to start getting the conversation right with the right partners. And it's not about really recycling, it's understanding the whole value chain. It's about really getting consumers and producers together. It's about understanding what are their priorities. And it's also about how the public sector reacts to the procurement cycle. How to get it right is fundamental.
most important for a government is to have a vision about the future. And if you have a vision, you need to write it down in a Gatsby plan, we called it. All the parties, also the market parties, can join with your vision and follow your vision. That's the most important thing.
I think it's mostly public servants need to understand that it's what they need is really a change in the mindset. Very oftentimes they've been told to do the same thing all over and again. And now it's about changing mindsets, it's about changing capabilities, attitudes, it's about building new skills that they allow them to understand what is the system of the circular economy, how that it worked, and how they can really be proficient actors inside that.
I think the first thing is maybe to get up in the morning, to take 10 minutes silence, and to think about where we are, who we are, where we are coming from, and then we start our day, because it's all about a new mindset. We don't need climate change, we need mind change. And everybody who belongs to the brand human, he can do this.
Meneer Rauw, ja. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was day one, and also in a summary. And day two, well, is upon to be built. And before I let you go to the reflection sessions, ladies and gentlemen, I would give the word right now to the General Reporter. The floor is for His Excellency Mr. Asman Abnoor, the Minister of Administrative and Bureaucratic Reform of Indonesia, for a statement.
Thank you, Donatello. The video actually speaks for itself. It is heartening to see the help of idea and innovation that we being generated in governments and public institutions. Innovation is happening in virtually all areas of the SDGs. Yesterday, we did much more than only discuss individual initiatives. We took a deep dive into the will take for government to realize the SDGs. We debate key policy issues and how to address them. In many of the tracks, there was the feeling that we have reached a definiting time. Major changes are happening in the way we approach policy making, in the main people place of the government, and in the ability and use of technology. Some of the major challenges we are facing today are reaching tipping point, such as in the area of climate change. On employment, we heard about varied innovations that have been launched to empower people, create jobs, or secure minimum income level. There is also much we still need to grasp about the current and future trends in employment and decent works. It is critical to analyze and understand the situation before deciding on policy and measure. Data and analysis are trust-critical capacity for governments. Acting simulation or employment and others SDGs can maximize the impact of policy. Employment strategies trust need to be conceived as part of a broader set of related policy. Yet unemployment is a grave concern and a heard from countries who are understanding major effect in this area. As program, as policy continue to be implemented, good solutions should be institutionalized. All solutions should demonstrate strong collaboration among government departments and between them, and not governmental organizations and the private sector. Everyone has the right to the best level in healthcare. Providing good health service will address the social determinant of inequality. This is critical to leave no one behind. As an integral part of the implementation of the SDGs, there is need for coherent and integrated national plan for health. It should go hand in hand with strategy aimed at reducing inequalities. It should also be implemented simulation with the related sector policy. In order to make progress, we need to build a more accountable governance system to strengthen the political cohesion. Government needs to strengthen their capacity to conduct analysis and to improve the availability, quality, and disaggregation of statistics on health. Information on communication technology notably helps provide great opportunities for improve the healthcare system. Not short and triangular cooperation should have support access to help and should effective public-private partnership. At the moment, we are in energy transition. This transition is not just about decarbonizing, it is also about integration and digitalization. It is utmost urgency to ensure that everyone has access to sustainability energy as outlined in the SDGs. Innovation also necessary to make energy more reliable and clean, ensure energy efficiency, and providing fair deal for customers is also critical. Many efforts are being made to develop renewable energies. In this picture, we will see an increase in consumption of green electricity. Policies need to look not only the electricity sector, but also at all the other sectors, so as ensure the right sequence. Many cities are integrated in circular economy and renewable energy. To make smooth energy transition in cities, there is need to thorough understanding of situation regarding transportation and poverty in particular. ICT and data can help countries to leapfrog certain challenges related to clean energy. Yesterday, we witnessed possible solution to address high water and sea level rise, which is threatening so many small island developing states. There we have much to learn from our host country, and it's room for the river program which helps prevent flood. Small island developing states are also innovating with continuously promoting the SDGs. Children and youth are the core of the 2030 agenda. The concern for their healthy development should be mainstream in all phases of policy making. Every child and young person deserves care and protection as well as ever opportunities at life. This means self-improvement, quality education, health care, adequate nutrition, access to quality employment, and social integration based on culture and spiritual development. The explicit focus of policy making should be social protection, empowerment, and protection children from living in poverty. Both steps are needed to ensure registration at birth, as this is critical for people to have voice and for safety. Some innovations are helping us to rethink how youth can be involved in development and governance. There is need for a strong and explicit focus on accountability. We need to evolve toward communication-oriented policing and exchange the way the police engage with families to address the problem of youth radicalization. Young people and youth organizations should be trained particularly on how they can play the role of activities. The lack of trust in public institutions deters youth from participating and engaging the fight social media. It is particularly urgent to end once and for all abuse, exploitation, trafficking, and all forms of violence against and fortune of children, particularly in case of conflict and crisis and in their aftermath. Many approaches are being tried to improve the life of the poorest and most vulnerable people. Leadership is important to encourage public institutions to reach out to those people who are usually difficult to reach. Empowerment is the key word. Some innovations have helped to give to most marginalized communities and change to develop business. Local governments are well placed to know who the fathers behind are and how to respond to their needs. The capacity to consult and engage people need to strengthen. Innovation is also important to make sure the voice of the most vulnerable are heard and that their needs are addressed. Some innovations have engaged civil servants to serve as volunteers. To reach the poorest and most vulnerable, it's also important to partner with NGOs. Regarding cities, a holistic, innovative, and inclusive governance approach at the local level is key SDGs implementation. Particularly urban governance is also critical. It allows to place citizens and heart of public decision. Particularly budgeting can allow people to have a say in how cities' resources should be spent. No meaningful transformation will happen without changing public servant mindsets. A new paradigm shift is needed on how public servants are perceived are recognized and valuable agents of change. ICT can support innovation in public service delivery. For example, social media can improve integration between government and people. Solutions to public challenges can leverage the power of data, open data and big data analytics. At the same time, data protection measures should be put in place, notable legislation for data privacy. Circular economy is about changing the economic system, changing the behavior of producer and consumer, is innovating and engaging in strategic partnership. The role of government as a partner in achieving and implementing circular economy is crucial. All economics should move forward together to change the perspective and mentality on the economy. The express of circular economy are taking place in wide range of fields. Creating and enabling wide partnership would be an important way for government to influence the evolution toward the circular economy. It is critical to give the consistent message that government is a reliable partner. Transparency and cooperation with the market would be the two most important factors for effective implementation of circular economy. I highlighted key messages from the 8th track. There were many more which will be captured in the chair summary and report. Overall, a common thread from the discussion is that innovation to deliver on the SDGs will be influenced greatly by the type of leadership country and public institutions have. The support innovation government need to play a key role to mobilize and partner with other actors, consult with people, and engage in partnership. It was a pleasure to take part in this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for the report. And ladies and gentlemen, finally, on social media, of course, there are a lot of remarks, reports, opinions, pictures, and if you would like to contribute, the hashtag is United Nations Public Service 2017, so it is on screen for all your social media contributions on this great conference. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's look forward. I would kindly invite you for the reflection sessions that will start right away in the respective locations. Session 1 will start in Mississippi, Session 2 in Amazon, Session 3 in Yangtze 1 and 2, and mind you, Session 4 in Oceania Foyer. We see each other back at 1:45 for the Youth Declaration, the ministerial conversation, the closure, and of course the award ceremony. I wish you good works and good luck today at day 2. Thank you.